Yes, sir. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Run with me, Manny Wilson, all the way from Detroit to Chicago to your speakers and headphones. We got a great episode for you today. Obviously, some voicemail calls. Denver Nuggets and Miami Heat is in the NBA Finals. But before all of that, man, I appreciate you tuning into the first interactive sports podcast. You know, a community that makes sure your voice is always heard. So if you hear something you dislike, you hear something you like, or you just want to outsmart me, share your opinion, comment on something I said, feel free to give us a call at 219-413-9405 and we will air your take next episode. But look, as I mentioned, the NBA Finals are here. We got the Denver Nuggets versus the Miami Heat. Denver Nuggets, they beat the Lakers in 4 games. Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics in 7 games. And this will be the Denver Nuggets' first ever NBA Finals, their appearance. And if they win the NBA Finals, it'll be their first ever championship for the city of Denver in the NBA. The Miami Heat, on the other hand, this is their second finals in 4 years, but both times they showed up empty-handed. So they're trying to just leave away with a win finally, man. I mean, they've gotten there. And typically when I do my picks against the finals and who's going against who, I base it solely off of experience. Usually I'm like, all right, well, this team got more experience, and then I'll go down the line of the rest of everything else. Clearly, the Heat is winning the battle of experience in this situation over the Denver Nuggets here. They've been 2 times, and the Denver Nuggets have never been to the NBA Finals. It's always something about that stage when you get there. It's just some people are overwhelmed. The moment's too big for some people. They can't adjust to it. So to me, you got to give some Heat, the Miami Heat, the credit they deserve for even getting to the finals. But ultimately, I hear a lot of different things about the fear being the personnel matchup. A lot of people are talking about, Miami Heat don't stand a chance because they don't have an answer for Jokic. Everybody's looking at the paper matchup and this matchup on paper when, bro, you got to stop doing that. You got to actually sit down and look at the games, because looking at paper and looking at the personnel on the roster only tells you so much. Because think about this, man. When you talk about the Miami Heat and everybody they've played through the course of the playoffs, all these other teams have had a better on-paper roster than the Miami Heat. Going back to round 1, the Boston Celtics or the Milwaukee Bucks, they had a better roster than the Miami Heat. The New York Knicks had just as good as a roster as the Miami Heat, if not better. The Boston Celtics, probably the best team in the Eastern Conference on paper, had a better roster than the Miami Heat. But look what happened. Look what ended up happening. Miami Heat ended up winning that series. They had a commanding 3-0 lead. They won in Game 7 with no problem. So that's the first thing people got to stop doing, is saying on paper, the Miami Heat don't have an answer for Jokic or Murray, as if they cannot continue to make great adjustments like they did against the Celtics, like they did against Milwaukee, like they did against the New York Knicks. So I'm just saying all of that to say you got to put some respect on the Miami Heat before you do anything else. They've definitely earned their way to this finals. And if anything, you got to give them the respect they deserve when showing up in this finals and being able to go against Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and the rest of those guys on the Denver Nuggets. However, I'm not siding with the Heat in this. I still think the Denver Nuggets are going to end up winning the series. I don't think it's going to be a sweep. I don't think it's going to be a landslide, nothing like that. I say it's going to 6 games. And I give the Denver Nuggets the credit just because when I look at all the different things and all the different factors on the paper, off the paper, the statistical things on the floor, off the floor, all of those things make a huge impact, and I see the consistency within the Denver Nuggets, not just within the numbers, but also in the play. Now, something that did concern me was that Miami Heat, the bench production. That's a key focus for a lot of different people right now. That's some of the main things that they're talking about, is that, Miami Heat, they got 34 points coming straight off the bench outside of the starting 5. However, what people fail to realize is that outside of that bench production, that starting 5 isn't even top 10 in giving you point production on the floor. That starting unit from the Miami Heat is not top 10 in points. The Denver Nuggets, that starting unit is top. They're number 1 in points. The Denver Nuggets team is number 1 in points. So to me, when I look at these different things and add it to the factor of consistency and see all the different things the Denver Nuggets do in terms of adjustments, Nikola Jokic getting his triple doubles, Jamal Murray showing up big, their bench production, and Jeff Green and what's my other guy, Bruce Brown. Their bench production is crazy too. Bruce Brown's coming off the bench giving you 12, 13 on an average, but on a good night, he's giving you 20. Jeff Green is giving you 16 on a great night. On a bad night for Nikola Jokic, like he had in that last series against the Lakers, I think it was game 2 maybe, a bad night was 24 points for him. So I understand the thing about the paper, but also too looking at this on off the stat sheet and looking at it on the floor, Denver also plays great basketball, man. They have a complete team over there, and the way they play defense, they run the floor when necessary. They got great passes, they run great sets. Jamal Murray gave Lakers 30 last season, and I'm sure he's probably going to do it again in the finals on this big stage that he's been waiting for. Jokic has been waiting for this moment as well. He's averaging a triple-double. So to me, man, I don't know. It's definitely going to be tough, but I would say for sure, because the Denver Nuggets have proven to be disciplined in late areas of the game, I'm for sure going with the Denver Nuggets to pull this out in 6 games at max. I don't think it goes past 6. I wouldn't be too surprised if it goes before 6. But long story short, you got to give the Miami Heat some respect. You damn sure can't say they're going to get swept on here. That would just be insane to think that the Miami Heat would get swept after they've beaten all the great teams in the Eastern Conference this year and the teams in the Eastern Conference that were deemed powerhouses and all of that stuff. So I'm going with the Denver Nuggets in 6 for sure. We got some more, man, voicemails coming up. Obviously, some news for the run as well in just a second. So don't move. We will be right back.